My buddies and I are traveling across Oregon and Idaho with one goal: make it home in one piece. The plan is simple: leave Salem, spend the night at Alvord Desert, make our way up to Leslie's Gulch, spend the night somewhere in Idaho, off-road in the mountains of Idaho, and then make our way back to Oregon through Burns, with one of our last stops being at Crater Lake. A rough 1,800 miles of on and off-roading planned. Seems simple enough, right? But our plan was very, very flawed. I drive a Jeep, and on the very first day of this trip, I already had a breakdown. Of course, the Jeep is already broken down. We got in here and we noticed a small leak, but before I get there, let me catch you up on how we got here. We left Salem around 9 a.m. and started heading towards Burns. Made a few stops. And then Alvord Desert. This is how you know you're close. About 40 minutes of gravel road like this. After over 6 hours on the road, we finally made it. And man, this place is beautiful. We did some driving. Did some off-roading. And this is where our problem started. We noticed a leak on my Jeep.
What is wet? Driving to a pond? That's your axle.
Did I hit something or what?
I don't know.
It's leaking pretty fast too. Look at that. I just parked. So we got to Alvord Desert. Look at this beautiful place. But this is our situation. Of course, the Jeep is already broken down. We got in here and we noticed a small leak. Well, it turned into a big leak, and so we took it all apart. Turns out my wheel bearing just disintegrated. Wheel bearing and seal. And so, yeah, we're in the middle of the desert with my car like this. And what? What do we do?
So now we're gonna be waiting for Ben to come from Salem, which is leaving only in about 3 hours. When he's gonna come here at 4 a.m., 5. We're gonna install the parts tomorrow morning, which the plan was to leave this place at 10 a.m. We're definitely not doing
That's not happening anymore.
It's not happening, so we're gonna be running behind schedule now.
Good thing Ben is not with us, actually.
Ben
He has a wedding that he has to be at, and so he's coming after that. And luckily, he's grabbing parts. So now all we gotta figure out is how to take this stopper ring off, and hopefully with the new parts, we could get this thing back on the ground.
After heating it up, banging it out multiple times, we were able to get the bearing off.
The stop ring.
The stop ring, actually, stop ring. Got it out, so now we don't need to cut it. It's gonna be straightforward, just pull it out. It's really hot though. Let's get this thing lifted, but now it's moving.
So hopefully assembling it will be
Super easy.
straightforward. My dad, he's gonna give Philip brake cleaner, diff fluid, microfiber towels, you know, like essentials that we don't have, just to cleanly assemble this, because if we assemble it like this, that would be bad. So he's bringing brake cleaner and whatnot. But hopefully, this was a clean shirt before I left. We did what we could with our given tools, and while we wait for Ben and Philip to come several hours later, I decided to take the drone out. This place is just insane. A goal was to see the sunset here, so that's at least one thing we could check off the list. Just for a little perspective, look at this. It's just endless. Alright, it's Sunday morning. It is 7, almost 8 a.m. This guy pulled up at precisely 5 in the morning with Philip. As you can see, he was being very quiet and woke us up. But it's 8 a.m. and we do have the parts to hopefully fix the car right now. This is the bearing and the stopper, and this is the seal, I think. Yeah, this is the seal. I got 2 sets just in case, because I don't want to risk the other side breaking and not having any parts near us. So I'm gonna cook up some breakfast and then get to work on this thing. Here's the new bearing versus what's left of the old one right there, and what's left of the old seal right there. Let's get it back together. I forgot to mention, but a part of the bearing was still on the axle, and that's what we're trying to take off here. Long story short, it didn't work. We need a grinder. So we just asked this group of people. It's a bunch of like glider planes, but we asked them, and luckily they have a grinder, so we're gonna come to them and hopefully get the part off. And while we wait for these people to give us a grinder, we went off-roading for a little bit more. Very, very luckily we got it off. Now for another hard part, putting the bearing back onto the axle.
No, my mess, bro. This Mr. Gulch, no good. Alright, turn the cameras off, bro.
And then putting the axle back in properly. Here's a situation update. After hours of trying to get the bearing in on the inside, we couldn't fully get it in. It was about a quarter off. So we just jammed it into there. And it kind of sit. It's not sliding out now. But problem is the bolts on those brackets, this one on the side, we can't screw it in. The nut keeps stripping. So also we forgot to install the stopper for the bearing back on. So that's without a stopper, only on 4 lug nuts because we banged one out on accident. And so we're pretty much going to be holding on 3 bolts, no stopper, and hopefully that the rotor and caliper and wheel is just going to hold it into place, and just praying that it's not going to leak. By miracle, the Jeep is back on the ground, and we can only hope that nothing bad happens again. Time to head back onto the main road and hopefully continue the journey. But 40 minutes later, oh man, we drove for 40 minutes from the desert, made it here, stopped to check it out, and it's gushing diff fluid out again. So I'm assuming because there's on the plate on the inside there's 1 bolt missing and the seal is not fully compressed. Man, it's just leaking out again. So because I think I can't really drive this car for long, we're gonna end up taking it back to Burns, and then in these 2 cars we're gonna continue our route into Leslie's Gulch, and then from Leslie's Gulch, so we're gonna plan to spend the night at Leslie's Gulch tonight, and then go into Idaho for tomorrow morning, and then continue part of our route that was originally planned. Yeah guys, this is day 2 and so far not going to plan, but it's okay, it happens. We'll learn from our mistakes and adapt and continue driving. Let's go to Burns. We found a safe spot to park the Jeep, swapping all my stuff into the 4Runner and the Porsche, and then We're gonna go grab lunch and make our way to Leslie's Gulch finally. We ended up deciding to cut the whole trip short and not go into Idaho. Instead, we're going into Leslie's Gulch for the night, then going to Crane Hot Springs the next day and calling it wraps with that.
Okay.
Alright, status report.
Status report, we are 2.5 hours away from Leslie's Gulch. We're gonna be there around 10 p.m. Jeep is in burns, cooked.
Done for. Leaking badly.
Yeah, it's not
Can't drive.
great, so
I'm not gonna risk blowing the diff,
cool,
so
though.
we're here. Look at this
it's
straight
like
road.
really straight, like there's not a single car coming both
Miles.
ways. It's pretty cool though.
This is a cool spot.
Yeah, besides we're kind of behind schedule.
By pretty much a day.
Yeah, we're by a day, and we had to cut down 3 days in general.
Well, sorry guys. Sorry guys. Alright, let's keep going. Throughout this whole trip, there's been a bunch of abandoned gas stations like this one along the road. Looks like this one was also a cafe before. We took a look inside and we found a bunch of receipts from the early 2000s before any of us were even born. Look at this vintage thing. But enough of that, let's keep going. And once again, over an hour of gravel road to reach Leslie's Gulch. We obviously got there at night, so we found a camping spot, settled in, and made food. Monday morning. It's day 3, it's cloudy but warm, and now we can finally see what this place looks like in real life. Eight hours away from home, but it was so worth the drive. 'Cause we made it here to Crane Hot Springs. This is actually our final destination, final stop overnight. We had to cut the trip short by what, like two or 3 days because of the dumb Jeep braking. But yeah, this is our setup. Tents are up. We're just waiting a little bit till it gets a little bit colder until we could go into the springs. The next morning, we packed up and it's time to go see if the Jeep is still in burns. And it was. Our adventure is not complete, but it's finally over. Or so we thought. We drove into Bend and ran into a little bit of a situation. As if enough things haven't gone wrong yet, we got into a 4-car accident and the Porsche took a hit. A lady in this Lexus rear-ended this Cadillac. The Cadillac hit this Nissan, and this Nissan hit the Porsche. Luckily, the damage on the Porsche was the least out of the 4 cars, so after nearly 2 hours of police questioning and cleanup, we can now for real go home. Moral of the story, not everything goes to your plan, so learn to make the most out of what life throws at you. Thanks for tagging along with us.